I'm Ashton Addison from EventChain for Investment Pitch Media and FinTech News Network. And today on Blockchain Interviews, we have Bradley Zastrow, the head of global business development at Dashcore Group. Bradley, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you today.
No, thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Anytime. So please tell me, Bradley, how long have you worked with Dash so far, and what are you specifically focused on right now?
Actually, in about a week or so, it'll be my 1-year anniversary with Dashcore Group. So that's pretty exciting.
Congratulations.
No, thank you. It's amazing how quick actually the time goes, especially in the crypto space. But right now we're just really focusing on executing our strategy. That was something we had presented to the community near the end of September of this year. So really building that out, focusing on our existing partnerships and identifying and building new ones.
That's awesome. Well, it's definitely been an exciting year, 2018, and a lot of things have happened for cryptocurrency. And of course, we've also been going through this bearish market. How have the attitudes towards the growth of Dash and the cryptocurrency community inside of Dash, affected by this? Are you guys working just as hard? Is the community just growing just as quickly?
Yeah, I mean, the bear market is certainly unfortunate. But I think, at the end of the day, it really doesn't change our focus or our commitment to what we're doing. At the same time, though, there's definitely times I think when it hurts. A higher coin price, for example, enables our monthly treasury process to just fund more projects. But what I think that means right now is that we're just kind of simply focusing more strongly on kind of what we're doing and the opportunities we do have. But I think overall, the commitment to what we think Dash can do as a payment network and a solution to those payment problems, we see the solution just as viable. So nothing's changed on that side.
That's great to hear. And I know the people that are super focused on development and growth of the communities inside the blockchain industry, they're not fazed by the sentiment of the market. And it's glad to hear that Dash is working very hard to achieve your guys' goals. And I hope moving forward to 2019, we'll see some bullishness back in the market, and that will help expand the community exponentially. So
definitely. I mean, maybe as a quick context as well with that, I mean, one thing that we're kind of excited about seeing is even in this bear market, our average daily transactions have still moderately increased on average. So that's still showing us that the usage is there. And we're still seeing great growth, for example, in Venezuela, as far as merchant acquisition and user acquisition on that side too. So I think, like you said, it is a bear market, but we're still seeing some positive signs.
That's awesome. So as you guys grow, for you, what are the specific goals of Dashcore, that you're looking to achieve in the next 6 or 12 months here?
Yeah, I think, kind of as I mentioned, Dash, we're a payment network. We focus on near instant transaction speeds and micro fees. And so we're looking at really the payment space to where there's friction, where there's problems, and where we see there being, a solution that we can provide. We kind of boil that down basically to greatest fit and greatest need. The greatest need is really where your currency is broken. If your currency is broken, every payment type is impacted. So for where we see the greatest need, we're focusing heavily on Venezuela, as well as then those kind of secondary markets around Venezuela and Latin America kind of in general. Greatest fit comes down to a few different payment options in the legacy space. We know we're not going to be a solution to everyone everywhere, but where we do see there being opportunities, for example, in cash-heavy industries, very high cost of doing business. And so in that sense, we're focusing on the U.S. cannabis industry. We also see an opportunity in high chargeback industries for credit cards. Specifically in our case, focusing on that gaming and gambling industries. Remittances, of course, is I think one of the more obvious use cases for cryptocurrency. And again, we're focusing on that area, but more specifically that Mexico-US corridor. And then again, even crypto. Crypto does have its friction points. Sometimes it does take too long or cost too much. And so what we're really doing in the crypto space is focusing on our instant send integration with exchanges, which then just builds a network liquidity and kind of greater arbitrage and security options for users.
Wow, that's awesome, Bradley. I didn't know that you guys were working on U.S. cannabis and gambling and getting into those other niche industries. I have heard a lot about what Dash is doing in Latin America and in Venezuela, and it's really great to see that you guys are actually making an impact right away in those areas. But it's very interesting to hear that you guys are also targeting these specific American markets. And you touched on some of the problems that you guys are trying to solve with high cost of business, the problems with cash and the currencies in Venezuela. What other limitations do you see, maybe more specifically in the American markets, that you guys are going to need to overcome to increase the adoption of Dash in those markets?
I think it's probably a couple of different things. I mean, I think even just overall in general, there's just at an industry level, there's probably a certain level of maturation that still needs to kind of occur. Noise like the BCH situation, ICO scams, the shilling, and pumping of junk that you see in this space, none of that's really helpful to adoption. That's not Dash specific. That's all kind of serious projects. We're all impacted by that, and I think ultimately mainstream users are going to be put off by that. Either businesses or users. The bottom line is people are going to be looking to minimize their risk, especially when it deals with their money. And anything that I guess portrays this as maybe not being a serious industry it can impact that. We feel that we're doing the right thing to change that perception. We don't participate in that space. We don't pump our coin. We've never advertised as an investment opportunity. That's something, a decision we've taken quite consciously as well. And from Dash Core Group, we're also built, or rather built by, very serious business professionals. Our CEO, Ryan Taylor, he's ex-McKinsey Consulting, ex-hedge fund management. Our CFO comes from Morgan Stanley. I come from 18 years with American Express. So, we're serious about what we're doing, and we think that experience is a huge advantage as far as, the groundwork that we're laying now and what we think we can achieve moving forward. But then more importantly, I think our network itself is one of the biggest advantages, especially to kind of combating that risk and that kind of, I guess, obstacles, like you were saying. Our network is a fully decentralized, autonomous organization. We're proactive and have a strong governance. In a 24-hour vote, we went to, we could vote to scale, 2 megabyte block size, while everybody else was still arguing over the fork. And is it Lightning Network? Is it bigger block size? We did it in a 24-hour vote.
Wow.
Instant send is now on all outgoing transactions, a key element to enabling point-to-sale, transactions and enablement. We are now have 51% attack mitigation through chain locks, and this is all done through our Mastodon network. So, I think it's something that's maybe sometimes a little bit of an unsung hero. But, at the same time, I think that's something that as this space does mature, we're going to see businesses and users pay more attention to, how networks can obviously handle and manage growth, and how can they direct growth. That is what I think they're going to want to see.
That's awesome. And that actually sounds like you guys have a lot of great business experience, to integrate into this blockchain, effort that you guys are doing. And that makes all the difference, because there are a lot of blockchain projects that have that lack of business expertise. And as you mentioned earlier, the mainstream media really hasn't done any favors for cryptocurrency and showing the benefits that it can provide, as a payment solution, with all of the, the price increases and drastic price drops and ICO scams and things like that. So is your guys' team really focused on, education and, lowering the barriers to entry for the technical expertise? Because I could see how a lot of vendors, for example, in the cannabis industry in America, there's that educational barrier where they don't fully understand, because it sounds like it's super technical, right? Like blockchain is just something they're not familiar with. So how much are you guys focusing on education?
Well, I think, it's even maybe if I could dial it even just slightly higher than that, education is definitely a strong component of what I would say is just maybe more broadly, just making it easier. At the end of the day, making it easier to acquire, making it easier to store, making it easier to transact, whether that's on the merchant side or the business side. You're definitely right. I think the way we go about making tackling that problem, and that's a combination of education, different type of awareness, et cetera. For example, with merchants, when we integrate with a business partner, Dash Core Group, we have a capabilities team that actually works hand in hand with that business partner on the technical integration. So some business partners obviously, may not need a lot or maybe any assistance. Some might need a lot more. There's a spectrum, of course. So right off the bat, just that little bit of education, how Dash works on that technical level with the important, I guess, technical people within that business partner. We're able to directly facilitate that, which I think, again, distinguishes us a little bit from perhaps other networks and other coins, having that always on kind of resource. I think more broadly, it's also around, how do you create real world use cases? I think in many ways, the best education is getting things in the hands of people and letting them play with it, letting them experience it, and let them, almost that self-directed education, if you will. If something is simple enough, they can do that. I think what we've done most recently in that case, or space rather, is with our partnership with Crypto Mobile, which is a manufacturer of Android smartphones. Inexpensive handsets around circa 100 USD, specifically for the Latin American market in Venezuela. What we built with that partnership was a phone that was pre-installed with the Dash ecosystem. So you could acquire, you could store, you could spend your Dash all in one space. That was partnered also with Uphold being preloaded on the wallet and Bit Refill as well. More importantly, we also gave them just a little bit of Dash, not enough to actually buy anything, but a little bit of Dash in a paper wallet within the box of the phone itself. And that allowed people to experience and play with a little bit of crypto with really no risk. They got to experience that concept of a QR scan, reclaiming those funds into their wallet, the setup with the seed phrase and how that works. Building on that kind of education process from that kind of very base level foundation, but then combining that with a network funded initiative on the ground in Caracas, that is actually a live help desk. So at the same time, you had more mainstream people interacting with Dash, and then having that safety net that they're already used to. People are used to transacting where you have a 1-800 number, et cetera, that you can call. We tried to mimic that same scenario the best we could with a help desk there. And so overall, trying to create that positive feedback loop where, again, people are now hopefully going to be, acquiring Dash, storing and transacting, and that building on that foundation as we start to expand within the market.
Wow, the Crypto Mobile partnership sounds like it's a great way to get more, Dash in the hands of more people. And I understand where you're coming from, where you say, the only way to really learn is to, send a transaction and have it on your phone,
Yeah.
And because of the technical expertise, once you can fully realize how easy it is once you quickly send a transaction from your phone. But to read about it, there's no comparison, So
Exactly.
I'm glad that you guys are, providing a little bit of Dash to, the Crypto Mobile phone holders as well. And I see that as a really strong use case for community growth and adoption. So
I appreciate that.
That's awesome. So what else do you guys have in your business development roadmap that you're targeting within the next 6 months?
Well, we just recently launched 2 partners in the last couple of weeks. So Panda Exchange, which is a smaller exchange focused in Latin America, as well as ePayments, which is a channel partner focusing in that high chargeback and cannabis space. So we're looking forward to obviously development with those partners and seeing what obviously bigger and better things that we can hopefully build. I don't usually provide any sort of forward-looking statements, but in my last quarterly update with the community, what we did talk about was 8 partnerships, or rather deals that we're currently working on in the pipeline right now. 2 of which I just mentioned were launched, so we're currently now at 6 that we're actively working.
That's awesome, Bradley. So Are you guys looking for more people to get involved on the development side of Dash, on the marketing side, or just more members in the community? And if people are looking to get involved, what's the best way to approach you guys?
Well, always looking to expand the community. I think, it's definitely a situation where the synergies one can extract from having a wide and diverse community is just going to be beneficial to the network as a whole. So I'd say anyone that definitely wants to get involved, please reach out, whether it's through our website, dash.org, the forum that we hold there, the Discord communities is probably one of the more active spaces as far as kind of regular interaction with also other members of the community as well. And in addition to, of course, Twitter, just, within the crypto space, Twitter's a key communication channel for us as well. And there's a lot of ways that I think really people can get involved. I think one of the more exciting ways too is through that network, through the monthly budget and treasury process. If you don't see something that you think should be happening on the ground or in your own backyard, you can build a proposal and put it to the network for a vote. So that's probably one of the best ways to get involved, is to really kind of put skin in the game. If you see something, you can actually build it. So that's pretty exciting.
That's awesome. Yeah, skin in the game really is the best way to do it. I'll provide the dash.org link, the Discord link, and the Twitter link in the description below for the viewers. I'd love if we followed up, in Q1 of 2019, and we could see how the partnerships are flourishing, to secure those 8 partnerships, get the details on them, see where Dash is moving forward. That's all the time that we have right now, but I'm looking forward to following up with you then, and we'll see how Dash has grown.
Now, thank you very much. I look forward to it. Cheers, mate.
Thank you so much, Bradley.